got shit to do, but you don't do it. Why? Because of your agami karma. You know what needs to be done. You just don't do it. Why? Because of this. So the way that I want you all to think about it, and agami karma isn't bad. There's good agami karma too, which we'll get to in a second, or now. So see, here's the way that I want you all to think about it. I want you to think about your life as if it is a deck building game, if you guys are familiar with these, okay? So think about a game like Slay the Spire or Dominion or like whatever. If you guys don't know the genre, my apologies. Hopefully I've given you enough analogies. So every action that you take will set up your life for tomorrow. Right? So very simply, if I take my cell phone to bed, what am I signing myself up for tomorrow? Being more tired in the morning. If I'm more tired, what does that mean? That means that I caffeinate. If I caffeinate, what does that mean? That means that I crash. And if I crash, what does that mean for my evening? Am I going to work out? Fuck no. I needed the caffeine just to get my minimum amount of work done. Another really good example of this, sowing the right kind of agami karma. If there's any task that you're procrastinating on, ask yourself one question. What would it be like to wake up tomorrow and have this task be done? What would it feel like to wake up tomorrow and have had this paper written? The paper's finished. What would it be like? And now here's the crazy thing. You can do that. You can create that future. It's within your hands. But the problem is we don't think that way. The problem is we have such a tide of mental karma that we don't really even think about it, right? We're all like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this and I'll start later. Your mind will create all kinds of these thoughts. Where do these thoughts come from? These thoughts come from the fact that you played a video game yesterday. These thoughts come from the fact, let me jerk off first, let me watch some porn. These thoughts come from the fact that you watch pornography. Let me text this person. There's all kinds of thoughts that are going to be in your head that come from your past attachments. And if you really want to understand your karma, you'll start to understand that if you want to control your life, notice all of your mental compulsions and ask yourself, if I give in to this mental compulsion, what am I signing up for in the future? So I'll give you all just one example, okay, of the deck building game. So sometimes I work with people who get high. And when you get high, what kind of agami karma is this? And this is where a lot of people will get caught up on, oh, you shouldn't get high in neuroscience, this. Forget all of that. We're not talking about any of that crap. I'm just saying very simply, if you were designing a deck building game, what would be the effect of the card of getting as high as a motherfucker? Here's my take on it. There's a card called High as a Motherfucker. Has a little picture of a marijuana leaf. Gives you plus 10 enjoyment. End your turn immediately. You can't take any other actions. Minus 5 energy tomorrow. And add 1 get high as a motherfucker to your deck. Right? This is what it does. It's not about good or bad. This is the effects of the card. Yeah, like plus 10 enjoyment, end your turn immediately. Add 1 to your deck. So this is the way that we go through life. We take all these kinds of actions that sign ourselves up for all kinds of problems in the future, and then we're like, oh my God, I'm a NEET. I don't have any motivation. And it's not that I'm trying to be lack of compassion. I'm not, but just understand, what are the 1,000 things, what are the 1,000 mental decisions that you've made? Every time you give in to a mental compulsion, the compulsion will grow. It's very, 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 very simple. See, I like pizza. And when I was growing up, I would always have soda with my pizza. And so now what happens? Now we enter Vasana. Now every time I have a slice of pizza, every single time I want soda with it. And the more soda I have with my pizza, the more I want soda with my pizza. Agami karma, mental karma. Most of it's in my mind. And then we can get into all kinds of problems. So I'll give you all an example of bad behavior that can be done right. So let's say I have a soda with my pizza. Once again, mental karma. What is my mental reaction to having this soda? Oh, shit. I cracked again. Oh, man. I'm so unhealthy. You feel guilty. See, even when we engage in pleasure, there's some kind of guilt that mentally, because we're not living in the experience. See, if I have the soda with the pizza and I just say, today I'm going to do this, so be it. Let me enjoy with full awareness. This happens. So be it. Done. No more resolution. You can do that. It'll be fine. It'll be hard, but it'll be fine. The problem is what you attach to it. It's not that an action is good or bad. There's no such thing as good karma or bad karma. There's just karma. There's cause and effect. Right? If I apply force to an object, the object moves. This allows me to do things like tow my friend's car, and also allows me to do things like hit someone with a baseball bat. It's just force equals mass times acceleration. That's all it is. We're the ones who apply the judgments. So as you go through life, be super careful about what you attach to the action that you take. And this is the crazy thing, is that when we start to live in a positive karmic way, we don't attach anything to our actions, and yet we start to act even better and better and better. I'll give you all a simple example. See, let's say you guys listen to this lecture and you're like, fuck yeah, Dr. K, like, let's go. Let's go. I'm not going to sleep with my cell phone today. Great job, you person. Good job. And because I don't sleep with my cell phone, I'm going to wake up rested tomorrow. And then if you wake up not rested tomorrow, what's going to happen? Oh my God, this shit doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Oh my God, I need something else. So you can do all the right actions and then you can still attach stuff to it. You'll still get fucked. This is why a lot of successful people are unhappy in life. It is the attachment that you make, not the action that you take. Charity, remember that example? I'm such a good person. Good job, charitable, narcissistic asshole. We're so grateful for the work that you do. It is the attachment that you add to it. Okay. Okay. So, a couple of other things that I want to point out. So there are a couple other examples of agami karma which we don't realize, right? So I need to do this. I don't want to do this. I should do this. So here's the thing to understand. When you have these kinds of thoughts, does it lead to resolution or does it lead to more thought? Right? So even when you say shoulds, if we look at it, shoulds are some of the worst agami karma that you can have. Because even when you do it, you don't feel good about it. You like barely feel okay. And then if you don't do it, you beat yourself up. So if you really pay attention, in your mind, there are all kinds of thoughts that you will have that will lead to more thoughts no matter what you do. This is getting entangled in karma. So all you can do is experience. So when you experience life without attaching anything to it, then you will resolve the karma. This is what it means to be a Buddha. Very practically, what I recommend is sowing positive karma. We're not done with transcending karma yet. We're not there yet. So we're going to sow positive karma. And then the question is, what is positive karma? And this is where I would just very simply ask you, anytime you're faced with something, a difficult decision, right? To really ask yourself, what kind of world do I want to wake up in tomorrow? This is what I'm going to strive for. And when you start to think this way, you will live your life with totality, with a ton of effort. What kind of world do you want to live tomorrow, wake up in tomorrow? Don't attach yourself to it. Recognize that today is today. I have no idea what tomorrow will bring because Prarabdha is there. Because I don't control everything 100%. You know, here I wrote my paper. It's on a floppy disk, for those of y'all that remember what that is. And to play a joke on me, my roommates put a magnet into my backpack, and it wiped my paper, and then there's nothing I can do. Right? So you can't always control your circumstances. You can control the way that you react to them. This is the essence of it. And to just think about what kind of life you're creating. I want you all, for all your compulsive behaviors, one really simple thing. If I do this thing in this moment, what am I signing myself up for? See, when I work with people who are struggling with addiction, they have a drink. The question is, when you have that drink, what are you signing up for? You're not signing up for one drink. You're signing up for 10 drinks. You're signing up for losing 3 months of your life. And this is where people will say, but Dr. K, I can't control it. To which I reference to you, the low perceived control creates your problems, is not a consequence of your problems, but so be it. You can't control everything. I understand that. Your willpower isn't 100%. You can still act with awareness. You can say, in this moment, I am not able to control it. So be it. But I'm not going to feel any guilt. I'm not going to, so let's understand. So when you don't control it in the moment, that's not the problem. The problem is what you attach to it. I can't control this problem as a general statement. I am someone who is a loser. I'm someone who has an addictive personality. I have low willpower. I have low conscientiousness. I'm a high IQ, burnt out, gifted kid. You attach all of these things to it. And then what does that do? That informs the task tomorrow. Shapes the task tomorrow. That's the mental karma. So you're not looking at things in isolation, which is really what it is. And this is exactly what happens. It goes back to tilt, and then we'll turn over to questions. See, when we tilt, we're creating our future. When we do all of these things, these mental karmas, we're creating our future. We just don't realize it. And just like the person who tilts and blames their teammates, the failure of accountability means that you will never be in control. So be as in control as you can. And being in control doesn't necessarily even mean controlling your actions. It means responding the right way to your thoughts. This is where the true control is born. This is where people get so confused. How do I act right? People say motivation. How do I cultivate motivation? Everyone is out there, myself included, talking about here's how to cultivate motivation, here's how to do this, here's how to do this, here's how do. That is not what you control in life. The only thing that you truly control, you can't even control your thoughts, right? I understand this. If you guys know someone who has OCD, or heaven forbid you have OCD, you know exactly what I mean. You cannot control your thoughts. If you're in the middle of a panic attack, you cannot control your thoughts. You can't control your thoughts. You can barely control your actions. What you can control is how you respond to things. What you can control is when someone doesn't text you back, how are you going to view this? You will have some initial response. Fuck these guys. Do you want to give in to this? So now ask yourself, once again, mental karma and agami karma. If I give in to this impulse and I text rant at this person, what am I building in the future? What kind of card am I adding to my deck? Let's understand this, right? In the deck building karmic game of life, someone doesn't text you back. Dr. K plays text rant. Minus 100% relationship with the person that you're talking to, destroys all future diplomacy, add 10 points of resentment to yourself. Debuff yourself for the next 10 relationships. This is what happens. Because text rants don't work. Right? Unless someone has like the trauma feature, in which case every minus 10% to relationship adds 10 points because it's fucking people get bound in traumatic abusive relationships or something like that. And this is the way we play our life. We play all these shitty cards over and over and over again. Right? And Crow's right. So remember, this has nothing to do with emotion. The emotion that's the consequence. That's the karmic fruit. And this is where we get back to this experience, okay? Because remember, this is why I talked about dreams and nightmares and stuff. See, experiencing an emotion fully is totally fine. That's how you get rid of it, right? So catharsis within psychotherapy, you can look at just the emotional impact within psychotherapy is like what creates healing. Like, we know this. So emotion experienced fully is actually a positive thing. Anything experienced fully is a positive thing. Someone saying, I want good cards. You get to decide today what you add to your deck. You get to decide. Literally, right now. This is not in the future. We're going to look at the weekly quest. We're going to answer questions and all that good stuff. But I want y'all to understand that as soon as this lecture ends, you're going to turn to life, right? So this lecture is going to end, and then it's round 1. Fight. And then it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to unplug your controller and just get bodied and fuck yourself up for tomorrow? Or are you going to do the right thing? It's not about moral right or moral wrong. How are you going to respond to your impulses? It's not about even whether you win or you lose. Can you resist for some amount of time? Can you do something that needs to be done today? I don't mean needs to be done today. I mean, can you do something that needs to be done today so that it is not done for tomorrow? Can you empty the trash? Can you go sort through your mail? Can you do the dishes? And what you will discover is amazing. That even tasks like doing the dishes, what makes doing the dishes not fun? Only your mental attachment to it. Oh my God, I don't want to do the dishes. I wish I could play games. Oh my God, but doing dishes is not that bad. You sit there for a few minutes. What's painful about doing dishes? Oh my God, there's so much of them because I let them pile up. I'm so angry at my past self for letting these dishes pile up. No one said you had to do all of them. Just do one day's worth. But this is not how we think. Our mental karma is completely out of our control, and we're sowing these stupid seeds in our life, and we're harvesting this stupid fruit. And then we go looking for complex answers. Neuroscience, wonderful. This will give me the answer. No, it's not. No, not according to a yogi. This is very simple. You take the right action today. You respond to things in the right way. You experience what comes your way. Let it come your way. You create a space of tranquility where you're not reacting to things. You are responding to things with intention, with control in your mind. As you do this, you will cultivate a life. I'm not saying that there aren't problems. There are going to be problems. That's your prarabdha, also your agami karma, but let's just call it prarabdha for now. You can't control those circumstances. You can control the way that you respond to them. So the basic problem is, first of all, we may start with whatever hand of cards we're dealt. We can't control that. But it's the way that you play those hand of cards. When you start losing in a game, do you tilt and turn a 80% chance of a loss into a 100% chance of a loss? And furthermore, what are the cards that you're adding to your deck? How are you setting yourself up for tomorrow? And this is where everyone thinks about goals and dreams and how do I accomplish my ambitions. Fuck all that. I'm not talking about any of that crap. All that is bad from this lens. It's just, what are you doing today and what are you going to create for tomorrow? That's it. Very simple. And not even today and tomorrow. I'm talking about in this moment. When this lecture ends, what are you going to do? And here's the beautiful thing. When this lecture ends, depending on what you do, you are adding a card to your deck. I invite y'all to think, when this lecture ends, what will you do? And what will that create for you? And furthermore, in that moment when you are able to act in the right way and you're thinking about tomorrow, you're also strengthening your frontal lobes. You are making it easy for the next time that you need to do something. So let's say you say, instant positive action. I'm playing the card instant positive action, which you're going to play at the end of this lecture. So this, remove one task from your deck. And a task is something that costs 1 energy, and each time you draw it costs more energy. Okay? So remove 1 task from your deck and add 1 energy tomorrow. This is what completing a task today will do. I work on some weeks, 7 days a week. On some weeks, I work 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. I work a lot, sometimes. This is not hard. It's easy. Sometimes it's hard. But what determines whether work is hard or easy is the conditioning of the person who is doing it. See, for someone who runs a 26-mile marathon, running 5 miles is no problem. It's about our conditioning. And the problem with mental karma and agami karma is we're deconditioned. We give into this. Okay. Let's look at questions. All right, looks like I do not see questions. So let's post the Slido link and then we will look at... Okay, I don't see... we've got a Slido link, but let me show you all the weekly quest. And then I'll ask one question, okay? All right, let's take a look. What is karma? Okay, so this is a quick overview. So like, this is great. So light quest to simply observe the mind's actions and their immediate effects. Observe the mind's activity. What thoughts did you have? What did these thoughts reinforce? How do they translate into actions or further thoughts? And then there's a exercise for attachment mapping. So this is just a really good way to explore what's going on within you. And then we get to the actual more challenging stuff, which is to experience without attachment, right? Just experience, just play a game, don't get tilted. Or notice as the tilt arises, whatever you want to do. And then we get to the advanced quest, which is karmic accumulation. Right? So like monitor your intentions behind each action. Are you intending more and accumulating karma? Or are you fully present and not accumulating karma? And as y'all play around with this, you'll discover that like it's going to be quite different depending on how you live your life. See, we all focus on actions and outcomes, not the way in which we live. Is this available anywhere? Yeah, it's available. The weekly quest is available on Discord. See, someone's asking, so there's a Slido link. So, okay, here we go. Is there a meditation technique to let go of your attachments? Let me think about that. So I'll come up with I'll think about this question more for our question on, we have a lecture on advanced detachment. So we'll definitely explore that there. I'll have to think about that. I mean, so I think that, you know, this is where, if we talk about a technique, see, one simple way to let go of attachment. So there are a couple of different ways to let go of attachment. The first is just to experience something as it is. Appreciate something for what it is. And this is like, it's an attitude. It's not a technique. And this is what some meditation techniques are. They're an attitude. Right? So for example, there's one, you know, I use this example because it's one of my favorite ones, where there's like a part of Zen training is that the Zen master hits you with a stick at random times throughout the day. So like you'll be like sweeping something and the Zen master creeps up behind you and smacks you with a stick. And then you're meditating and they smack you with a stick. And at the beginning, what tends to happen is people get smacked with sticks, they start to fear the stick. right? But eventually, and then they try to prevent it. They try to outsmart the Zen master, but the Zen master's been smacking people with sticks for 30 years, and you've only been here for 6 months. So they're like high rank against low, grandmaster tier versus like bronze tier. There's no way you can win. And then eventually what happens is people detach. At the end of the day, what is this? He smacks me with a stick every now and then. Apparently he enjoys that kind of thing, but it doesn't have to interfere with the work that I'm doing. So this is how detachment used to be taught. It's a very powerful way to teach it. Today, we would call it abusive.